We're joined by Clay Henry on Talk All Things Razorbacks, as we always are at this time. Before we bring Clay on, do want to let you know that Clay in this segment is brought to you by Crabtree RV Center in Alma, Arkansas. Crabtree RV is a dealership that has been serving the River Valley in Northwest Arkansas for over 70 years, located on 17 acres with a 2,600-foot showroom floor, conveniently located at the junction of I-40 and I-49 in Alma beside the Cracker Barrel. Crabtree RV Center gives each family the best experience, starting from choosing the right RV for their adventure to the service and parts department, plus everything needed in between. Crabtree RV, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years and 4 generations. Be sure to go to their website at crabtreerv.com. Clay Henry joining us now. Clay, the season is almost over. One more game left to go. And so far through 12, just kind of grading out what we've seen throughout the regular season. Is there any part of this season, either on the field, off the field, coaches wise, that you don't feel like giving an automatic A to?
Yeah, I say the first quarter against Georgia, right?
Well, yeah. Yeah, that'd be a pretty big F.
Yeah, they actually in other parts of the game competed okay, but that first quarter was that was reminiscent of years past and kind of made you nervous. But that was, I guess, a one-off, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Just really outside of the Georgia game, I don't think you could really complain of how things went through the other 11. And with Missouri, before we kind of get into the bowls and everything else that's going on in college football at the moment, the one thing that really stuck out from Missouri is, I guess, Tyler Beatty and his over 200 yards of rushing. Is that a concern going into the bowl game, or is it when you give the ball to anybody, especially with his type of talent, 41 times, he's probably going to get close to 200, if not over?
Yeah, I think that what you look at is, did he get any chunk plays? And he didn't. And they made him earn it. And I think the tackling was pretty good. And it was especially when you're ahead, and that's what Arkansas has got the lead, and that's still what Missouri wants to try to do. It's like, okay, we're just going to see how many yards he can get. We don't really care if we win the game or not.
Mm-hmm.
I was puzzled by that particular attack. They weren't giving up big plays in the running game, and they needed big plays to get back in the game, and I think Arkansas was real comfortable with the way Missouri tried to attack them.
Yeah, they definitely felt really comfortable, and especially since, that's kind of been the easiest part to this Arkansas defense all season long is, playing against the run. So when you have a team coming out trying to give one guy 41 carries, you don't really feel all that concerned. So going into this bowl game, and we know how much momentum bowl games can be, obviously for recruits. It's one more game. It's a national television wise. But how much stock do you put in personally to winning bowl games as far as it means of progress for a program? How much does winning it actually matter?
Well, if you're going to keep score, I think you ought to try to win the game.
Very true.
And I think that most coaches, they want to win the game, and it helps them in recruiting. But there's other aspects that are important. You don't want, for instance, I can remember 95, Danny Ford decided the best way to enforce curfew at the CarQuest Bowl is to have 3 practice a day, and then nobody's going to miss curfew because they're too tired to go out. And you can overdo it, and you can make it where, all right, this is spring practice early. And I do think that there is something to, outside the championship games, there ought to be a reward for the players. Let's don't overdo it. But I think that the early practices are really important, and I think you're going to lose Treylon Burks. You've got to figure out your wide receivers for next year. And I know there's potential for a high school player or guy in the portal, but by and large, the guys that you've got on your roster right now, you've got to figure out, can you rely on Ketron Jackson and Bryce Stevens and Warren Thompson and, those guys that are on the roster right now, they're going to get to work, and you've got to make sure your passing game is okay. And I'll point to Missouri. There was no threat at wide receiver for Missouri. And I know Barrett Bannister is a good player, but he's not going to beat you deep. And, Arkansas could cover and actually blitz a little bit because of there's not a threat at wide receiver. So you can't get in that position offensively where you have nobody that is going to take the top off the defense. And I think you've got to get those are two guys with speed at Arkansas, young players that you've got to get some snaps in the bowl game, and you got to get them a lot of work in December.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to overdo it, but you can't also underdo it, right? We don't need fights like we had against Florida State and Miami. Was that, I think, back in the 90s down on Bourbon Street.
Mississippi State. Yeah, Mississippi State and Tulsa last year.
Oh, yeah, definitely want to avoid that. Clay, we'll come back to you on the other side, talk more about the bowl game and everything else going on in the SEC West. 877-377-6963 is the number to contact us. Keep sending in those home remedies for me. Trying to get over it. Me and the missus got sick about the same time. She just texted me, said she's feeling a lot better. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be better tomorrow as we move forward throughout this week. But we'll be right back on the other side with Clay Henry. More on the Razorbacks and college football in general. So don't go anywhere. Right back here on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com. Thank you, Mr. Announcer Man. As everyone knows, on Wednesdays when you hear the great pipes of George Strait, that can mean one thing and one thing only. That's what I was trying to say. Here we go. One thing and one thing only. That is Mr. Clay Henry. He joins us for a second segment here on Wednesday. And Clay, with the bowl game, and you're obviously, I'm pretty sure you're going to go, right? Regardless of where it is.
I haven't missed one yet, so I guess I probably will.
Okay.
There's things can happen between now and then, but right now I'd say, yep.
So what's
Gene in and yeah.
So which destination do you personally want, and which one do you, if you had to put money on it, do you think they'll get?
Well, despite what you might hear from someone, I think there are no bad bowls. So they're all good to me, and as long as you're with your family, and that's a fun time of year right after Christmas. I kind of like the idea of Tampa. Jacksonville is, to me, that's like going to Georgia. That's not really like going to South Florida. So Orlando or Tampa, those are the places that I would prefer. But I've always liked Houston. It can be nice this time of year. And Liberty Bowl is close, and there's some fun things to do in your hometown.
Yeah.
So I don't object to that. I'm not a Nashville guy. There's plenty of people that are that would enjoy that. It's not I'm not a honky tonk guy, so it's
not your cup of tea.
I like it's not my cup of tea. So, but that all those are good. I mean, it's when you win 8 games and you're what's Arkansas, the 4th highest ranked SEC team now in the college football playoff, they're going to get a good bowl.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. They're going to get a good one, and honestly, at this point, where your program has been, only in year 2 with Sam Pittman, going back to Chad Morris and Brett Bielema, any bowl, I think, just like you said, is a good bowl. So having gone through the season, finished the regular season 8-4, ranked 22 in the second to last college football playoff ranking, kind of where would this season rank among the 21st century seasons, from 2000 on? Would it be a top 10, a top 5 season for Arkansas in the last 21 years?
Yeah, I think you'd have to say so. I mean, you can't wipe away the trip to the Sugar Bowl. I mean, that's the top. Sugar Bowl is pretty cool, and I always have enjoyed the Cotton Bowl. That means something pretty cool has happened. I would rate those two as above this. Beating Texas in the Houston Bowl, that's important, but it wasn't a very good Texas team, and it almost was like taking candy from a baby. While I like that, it was, it wasn't like you were getting the best candy. It wasn't Reese's peanut butter cups. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I definitely feel you on that. It was kind of just like, you feel good about obviously beating Texas, but you don't feel, as good as you probably have or would in years past. I
mean, Drew, I enjoyed this Texas victory this year more than I did that one, because I thought that Texas was actually a threat at that time. It turned out maybe that wasn't a good Texas team, but we didn't know that then. And it was meaningful, and there's nothing better than seeing the students come out on the field and celebrate. That was a pretty, that's so far back in September that we forget that was a lot of fun, as were some of these other games this year.
Yeah, anytime you get the chance to storm the field, especially, as a student, I got the opportunity to do it at my alma mater when I was still a student back in 2015 when we pulled off one of the biggest wins in program history. It's something that you never forget, and I guarantee it's something that those students on the Hill will never forget. And, maybe an opponent that you might storm the field against one day would possibly be LSU after winning the boot, if LSU's ranked in the top 5, and it's one of those classic matchups. And coming along with that matchup starting next season will be the addition of Brian Kelly as the head coach at LSU. What are your thoughts? Did that kind of come out of nowhere for, like it did for me and a lot of other people, to you, Brian Kelly to LSU? Well, and how successful do you think he's going to be?
Yeah, I thought he might go somewhere. I didn't put those two together. There's just something about the way he's acted this year doing interviews that he seemed kind of bored with everything. And that, I don't know. I thought perhaps that he would make a move, but again, I didn't think LSU. I thought maybe Southern Cal. So those two got flipped in my mind. Hey, I want to give you a home remedy, if that's okay.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, so I was watching one of my favorite shows is Beat Bobby Flay. And the winning concoction, or the thing that beat Bobby last night, a Jewish chef made matzo ball soup, and he says that is the Jewish penicillin.
Okay.
And I know that Phil would give you the exact recipe for that, but my fill-in for a good Baptist boy is chicken and dumplings, and it's the same thing. You make that stock with a whole chicken, you boil it for half a day. You get the house smelling, with that good richness of that chicken stock, and then you get the vegetables to go in it, and a little garlic, a little oregano, and you're going to have something that opens up your sinuses in your house, your apartment. And, it's going to take you 2 or 3 hours to make it, and it's going to have that, that water boiling, and, it's going to humidify your place. And it's going to help your sinuses. And then when you eat that soup, it's just going to open you up and just make you feel good. And I think that's the way to go. It's, I finished it off with some biscuits, but you can get just biscuits in a can for your dumplings to go on top. So that's my home recipe to get your sinuses working again.
Well, I appreciate it, Clay. I'll definitely try it out tonight and see if I can't go. I'll have to go to the store and get a lot of stuff to make it with, but it sounds like an easy idea.
Need a whole chicken.
Chicken, okay.
Yeah, big pot to boil it in.
I got a big pot.
You're going to debone it, and you're going to have chicken soup is what it amounts to. But it's going to be homemade, and it's going to, while it's cooking, it's going to open up your sinuses with the humidity that it adds to your place. That's a, dry air this time of year is bad for your sinuses. Yeah. This is Grandpa Clay preaching now, okay?
Hey, well, I appreciate it. I'll definitely take you up on your advice. I'll start it tonight, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, I just want to tell you, you sound good on the air. Maybe being sick changes your pipes a little bit, but you sound good, so don't worry about that. Well,
I appreciate it. Before we let you go, I do want to ask you one last question here. You're talking about Brian Kelly, the type of money that's been thrown around with his new deal, $9.5 million, 10-year contract. Reports of possibly $100 million for Lincoln Riley. Do you think Arkansas could ever get to that point where they could afford to pay top 10 type of money like that?
Winning cures everything, and there's still some premium seats that are available in that stadium, and you keep adding to it. And I think that there's going to be a windfall from the next TV contract that's going to help everybody, and it's going to add money in the budget. It might be as much as 5 to 8 more millions. So yeah, I mean, winning is. It'd be nice if you won enough that you had to pay a coach like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal, right, Clay? You'd want to be, in order to pay a coach that much, you've got to be a top 10 program, and I think everybody would accept that pay raise and paying that extra money to have a program like that. Well, Clay, I appreciate you joining me, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks.
It's Thanksgiving, and we all know what that means, football. And nothing goes better with football than turkey and betting. BetOnline has you covered for all the holiday season. More props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your #1 spot for all sports action this Thanksgiving. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus with the promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV to receive your bonus. And it's not just football. BetOnline has pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, even your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all these amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports.